Son of God, by whom we receive apostleship and grace and the revelation of the truth. We are today here to speak about a subject that is very passionate to my soul, although people may not know it to be very important, but it's very important. And that is what you see in the world today that is being generally practiced. A situation whereby every Sunday morning Christians gather for worship in various denominations. I want to show you today from the scriptures that it is wrong. Sunday morning worship is wrong. It's one of the principal manifest beginning of apostasy in Christianity. It's now a norm that Christians gather for worship every Sunday morning, world over. Not many people have stopped to question this practice, whether it is right or wrong. But it is not the proper thing that was in practice in the time of the early saints. Christians gathering on Sunday morning for their worship and service to their God did not start with Christ, neither did it start with the apostles. It's the beginning of apostasy. It started with an emperor, an apostate emperor, who said, that was Constantine, who said that he wanted to be a Christian. Although when you read history about Constantine, his conversion gave Christianity some freedom to worship God. But that was after the devil has succeeded in destroying the real doctrine of Jesus Christ and replacing it with idolatry. The early saints were persecuted because of the way they held doggedly to the truth and the revelation of the Word of God. The early saints never gathered on Sunday morning for their fellowship. Rather, it was the custom of the church and tradition of the Church of God to gather on Sunday evenings for their worship and breaking of bread. That's the only thing we can prove from the Bible. But this issue of gathering every Sunday morning for fellowship started around AD 321, when Constantine, who was the Roman emperor, who claimed that he saw a vision when he was going to war, that in that vision he saw a cross on the sun, and that he had a voice said, by this sign win, conquer. Then he went to war and came back and said that he saw a cross in a vision. Therefore, having seen a cross as a vision, that he will now adopt Christianity as his religion. Now, before he saw that vision, Christianity had undergone some corruption. Because adopting the cross as a sign of Christianity didn't happen in the time of the early apostles. It was one of the corruptions that came into Christianity. People using cross as a sign of Christianity. Cross is never the sign of Christianity. It was a pagan symbol. But I don't have enough time to go into that this hour. So now, when this man came to Christianity with the false vision, Christians received him wholeheartedly because having been seen persecution for perhaps centuries, they were looking for a breathing space. Now they adopted this man's pattern. Now he said that because he's not a Christian, he's declaring Sundays a Sabbath. But he did it to his son, his God, the sun, because he was a worshipper of the sun. The worship of the sun as a religion had always been there. Even before Christ, people had been worshiping the sun. So now this man was a worshiper of the sun God. When he came into his own form of Christianity, he sanctified that Sunday. That day had already been dedicated to the sun God by the Romans. So it was not him that made Christian it Sunday. It has been a day dedicated to the sun by the Romans. They have the moon day. They have Saturn day. So they dedicated those days of the weeks and months of the year after their gods in various forms and various ways. So now when this man came into Christianity, he introduced this worship of sun God. by declaring a Sabbath rest for it every Sunday. And from that time, the Christian now had the chance of going to church on the mornings of a Sunday. But prior to that time, believers were gathering only at night. If you read church history, you will discover that what instigated the persecution of Christians during the time of Emperor Nero was that since Christians were worshiping in the night, when Emperor Nero commanded his servants to go and set the city of Rome on fire. Now, when he set the city of Rome on fire, half of the city of Rome was consumed with fire. Now, when people, when he, in treacherous manner, tried to investigate those who caused the fire, he knew very well it was one that caused the fire. But now, because he hated Christians, he hated Christians, he said, it is these people that gather at night. When people sleep, they will gather to worship their God. That is when we are asleep, they set the city on fire. And Christians were persecuted and were killed under false accusation. Why were they falsely accused? They were accused for burning the Roman city because they used to gather at night. Now, you must open, if you know history, I'm not speaking scripture here, I'm speaking history. So that history could prove to everybody that Christians were not in the habit of gathering on Sunday mornings. So it was when Constantine initiated this and dedicated the Sunday morning worship to his God that it began to hold and spread till today, to the point that the real Christians, those who were born of the Spirit, may never considered it an anomaly and an aberration. They never thought it an aberration from the truth. The Christians should not be doing the way worshiping on Sunday mornings. In the spring assembly, we don't worship on Sunday mornings. We gather every Lord's Day evening, that is Sunday evening, to break bread and to honor our God. I will prove that from the Bible for you. But before I get there, I want to show you that in Christianity, Colossians chapter 2, verse 16, it says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of a holy day, or of the new moon, or of the Sabbath." He said, "Let no man judge you in respect of a holy day." It means no day is sanctified unto the Lord in the New Testament. There is no day to be observed as a Sabbath. That's what this place means. But now this man introduced Sabbath into Christianity as if Sabbath is part of our doctrine of Christianity. But that was the day they used to honor their son God. So the Christian has bought into this idea, and they have been living by it. But this is the doctrine of the woman of Babylon. It's not the doctrine of Christ. Yes, and there are many such things that they observe. The apostles, after or during the time of their ministry, when Apostle John was in a vision in the book of Revelation, he prophesied of a false doctrine that we brought into Christianity, whereby Christians will be made to eat things sacrificed unto idols. Revelation chapter 2, from verse 12 to 15. "And unto the angel of the church of the Pergamos write, This is said he which had the sharp sword with two edges. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. And thou holdest fast my name, and had not denied my faith, even those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have few things against you, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So thou hast also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. In the time of the early apostles, there was an example in the church in Pergamos. Now, that was a practical thing that happened. But in metaphor, It's a thing that will repeat itself. It will repeat in time to come. So now, at that time, there were this introduction of idolatry into Christianity. Believers being made to eat things offered in sacrifice to idol. So when you hear that people eat things offered in sacrifice to idol, it does not stop at eating food or drinking wine. It extends to practices. When there is an observation which proceeded from the gods, if that observation is incorporated into Christianity, that those observations and feasts are dedicated to idols, those who practice them are eating things sacrificed unto idols. In the time of the apostles also, the devil was trying to steal into the church various Babylonian and demonic practices, idolatrous practices, trying to bring them in and embellish them as if they don't matter. They matters nothing. But the apostles were there to rebuke them at their own time. But before today, nobody was there to rebuke Christians. So when they have their Sunday morning worship, nobody cared. But today in Death Ring Assembly, we don't worship on Sunday morning. God opened our eyes. I will show you when I get further in the scriptures. The believers gather on Sunday evening to break bread. If that is not the case, then it's not of God. So now, I'm speaking about eating things sacrificed to idol. Galatians chapter 4, from verse 8, even to verse 11. He said, howbeit then, when you knew not God, you did service unto them which by nature are not gods. But now, after that you have known God, or rather, are known of God, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto you desire again to be in bondage? You observe days, and months, and times, and years. I am afraid of you. Let us bestowed upon you labor in vain. After the Galatians received the gospel, they departed from the gospel of Christ, and Paul was warned them in chapter 1 that you have soon departed from him that called you into another gospel. Now, as they departed from Christ into another gospel, they incorporated in their practice and their religious observation the observation of hidden seasons, of days, months, years. They were observing things that the heathens around them were observing there because they had gotten used to it. Today in Christianity, people observe Christmas, which is a hedonistic practice. It has nothing to do with Christianity. People observe Easter. It has nothing to do with Christianity. When they tell you that Easter is when Jesus was crucified, the Easter you are seeing, not Easter. Easter is an idol that had been in Babylon before Jesus came. Now, when they observe it to the devil. It's not only that. They celebrate every morning what was the celebration they held unto the sun god in years past. So in Christianity, you find a lot of what I call weird doctrines. Things that are strange, but they are adopted and incorporated. Show me in the Bible where somebody can prove that Jesus was born on December 25. I'm very sure that Jesus was not born in winter. If you read the study the background of the birth of Christ, the Bible made us to know that while shepherds watch their flock by night, angels of the Lord appeared unto them. Go and study the culture of people of the Middle East. During summer, during winter, shepherds never take their flock to the wilderness. They build what they call sheepfold and bring them in. No shepherd takes his flock into the wilderness during winter. So it goes to show that Jesus was not born in winter. Not at all. But the Christmas they observe today happens in winter. In fact, it is a doctrine of the devil from the Roman kingdom. Because on every December 22nd, they used to observe what they call winter solstice. That is the day that the god of the sun was born. It is the myth of the Romans, that the sun god was born on December 22. From that time, they celebrate his birth on December 25. Now, how somebody decided to believe that Jesus was born in December 25 is incredible. Because there is no backing of such things in the Bible. There is no way it should be believed. Not at all. Jesus was never born during the winter. But now they're celebrating Christmas. What is Christmas? The day they do the Missa. Missa has been a doctrine of the Romans before today. And what is Mass? Missa, according to the Roman doctrine, it is the ceremony that they hold for a dead person. This is what Mass is all about. It had been there before Christianity. Today you are holding Mass for Jesus on the day that Jesus was born. Go and scrutinize scriptures, not scriptures of the Bible. Go and scrutinize the history and study world religions. So this is actually a confusion. Now, why I brought this in is believers observing days and months and years and times when they had already believed in Christ, when they should have escaped from those things. When the Corinthian church returned to do these things, to celebrate those days and times and weeks and months, Paul said, I'm afraid of you. I'm seriously afraid of you. Because I'm afraid I may have bestowed labor upon you in vain. So in our world, there is a corruption that proceeded from Babylon. And this corruption is eating up Christianity. But we are in this spring assembly, have dissociated ourselves from these things. That we may serve the only true God by the revelation of the truth and the word of God, and not join the bandwagon to do what is done everywhere. When we bring out our doctrines, we are only few that believe it in the world, but we stick to it because the truth itself does not have many friends. So listen, there is a woman called the woman of Babylon, and this woman is the founder of ecumenism. She is the one that has made every people of the world drunk with her doctrines. She is the owner of all this fallacy in Christianity today. She is the owner of this Sunday morning worship. She is the owner of Christmas. She is the owner of all these ceremonies, St. John Day, St. Peter Day, and every other thing they sanctify to themselves. Now I want to read the Bible for you concerning the woman. In Revelation chapter 17. Listen to the Bible. From verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels, which are the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit of the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Remember when we read in Revelation chapter 2, Jesus spoke about his martyr, a Christian martyr that was killed in Pergamos. And the Lord said there, that was where the seat of the devil was at that time. And here the Lord is making reference to such matters. That woman that slaughtered them is the woman of Babylon. And she is the one that introduced the eating of things sacrificed unto idols to the church. Those who resisted her were killed by her. That is why she is drunk with the blood of the saints. So it is this woman of Babylon that brought Sunday morning worship to Christians. Sunday morning worship is strange to Christianity. If the early saints who served God in the early times were informed that Christians now gather on Sunday morning to do service unto God in form of worship, they will be surprised. Very much surprised. Because it was never practiced in their own time. Not at all. These are part of the doctrines of the devil, which the apostles prophesied of. The doctrine that proceeded from the Antichrist. The early apostles were careful to notify the church, the brethren at that time, that the Antichrist was to come and already come. I know I have sufficient time, but I will progress to the next stage of my message, which by next week, if you come, I will speak more on this subject, explaining details from the Bible. How that early saints gathered on Sunday morning, on Sunday evening, sorry, for fellowship, not morning. So now, I am reading the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 18. Little children, it is the last time, and you have heard that Antichrist shall come. Now, even now, are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. And at the time of the apostles, Antichrist had already manifested himself. The Bible says he manifested himself. The apostles noted him and were warning the church not to be involved with him. Now, when he discovered that he had been observed, that he could no more cheat the church with doctrines of the devil, whereby the believers are made to eat things sacrificed unto idols, he actually started to walk in a subterranean way, in mystery. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. He said, for the mystery of iniquity doth already walk. Only he who now letteth will let until he is taken out of the way. The mystery of iniquity is already working. So all this observation of festivals that are meant for the hidden by Christians is actually that what the Bible calls the mystery of iniquity. The more you do it, the more sinful your denomination will be. The more you do it, the more unclean spirits envelop and cover your church. So let me quickly read here before I conclude, to at least make one point from the scriptures to show you that early saints gathered on Sunday's evening, not morning. I have an elaborate doctrine on that, which will come after this one. Acts chapter 20, verse 7 and verse 8. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them ready to depart on the morrow, and continued to preach until midnight. And there were many lights in the upper chamber, where they were gathered together. He said, the early saints used to gather on the first day of the week, which incidentally is what we call today Sunday. But they used to gather in the evening to show that it was a night. He said there were many lights. There were many illumination. They brought in a lot of lights so that people could see one another and hear the preacher. He said Paul continued to preach until midnight, showing that it was a nightly affair. Christianity never worshipped God in the morning of Sundays as a tradition and as a doctrine. It was imposed on Christianity by stealth, by the devil. And it came through Constantine, the Roman emperor. Today, Christians are flocking after this. Look, every church, every Sunday morning, some 8 o'clock, some 7 o'clock, some 9 a.m., they are already gathered there. It's a tradition. Nobody queries one another why they're doing it. But in the church of God, no, we rejected it. When we were converted as others, we were following the service of Sunday morning. But when God began to open my eyes to understand the scriptures, I called the church and said, brethren, this is a strange practice in Christianity. We must stop it. And we quit it. When we stopped it and started worshiping at night in the evening, people rebelled us with many false names. Some said that we are cultic people. Some said that we are adulterous people. And then some said, why if you have God, why should you gather at night? It's because they do not know the scriptures. The same accusation that was revealed against the early church is what we are receiving today. But the truth itself bears witness to itself. Yes. So my advice is buy the truth and sell it not. Do not join the bandwagon. When Moses was admonishing the people of Israel, he said to them, thou shalt not follow multitude to do evil. So we know that multitudes are doing evil. Therefore, we refuse to follow them. So the Lord is advising you through my doctrine today to come out of Babylon and his doctrine. I read Revelation chapter 18. I'll read from verse 3. From verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you may not partake of her sins, that you receive none of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. This woman of Babylon, that is the shepherd of all the denominations, and have made them to be drunk with her wines of fornication, is not the leader of the Spring Assembly. We've rejected her and her doctrines. We have come out of her. Therefore, we're inviting you to come out of her. Because the beginning of her doctrine was to introduce into Christianity the eating of things sacrificed unto idols, the importation of hedonistic doctrines, the myths of the Romans and the myths of the Grecians. She joined together idol worship with Christianity and created confusion. And this is a communism and the Babylonian way of worship. Come out of it if you don't want to partake of a plague at the end of your life. So Christians, through the Spirit, believe and understand by the scriptures that gathering on Sunday morning for fellowship is idolatry. Therefore, in this church, we do it not. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.